There is a connection between the paranormal, UFOs, and the myths of ancient history. The clues are scattered across the landscape from a forbidden past, maybe even in your own backyard. There is a connection between the true nature of our reality, consciousness, and the unexplained. I'm Carl the Crusher. Let's explore the unknown. We have to go to this spot today where I want to show you the geology of what's really going on underground here. And it's so fascinating, and we have all day to do it. It's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm going to be staying out here most of the night, if not all night. And where we're at right now, if you've been following this series, we're picking up where we left off on the Secrets of the Giant Serpent Canyon series. And we're also continuing on our quest to perform a psionic contact, where we use telepathy to make contact with UFOs or paranormal activity in these ancient locations that are known to be hotspots for this phenomenon. So now we're on the other end of this entire valley. In the last few videos, we were clear over on the east end of this entire canyon that has ancient fossilized dinosaur footprints in the valley. There's ancient petroglyphs all over, clear out in the middle of the canyon and the valley out there. And there's all kinds of different stuff out there. And we even did an initial experiment where we tried to summon or do telepathy to call in a UFO. And we may have actually been successful at that on our very first attempt. So now we're clear over on the western end of this valley, and we're gonna keep going. Where I'm taking you right now is a place that they've nicknamed Glitter Mountain, because it's an entire gypsum mine full of crystal that they mine from underground. And where we're gonna wind up later after we visit here is gonna be clear over here at a spot called Little Black Mountain. And down at the base of that mesa over there is a whole set of ancient petroglyphs that we're gonna go and going and spending some time at this evening. This entire valley, the entire area here is really all connected. When I've talked to Roger Colty of the Re-Indigenizing Minds Project, and we've looked at the ancient map systems, he's been able to connect everything that we've been looking at, from the petroglyphs clear up in the valley on the east end to all of the artifacts and everything that we've seen all the way up these canyons in this valley to where we're going to be going tonight in a little bit. And there's dozens and dozens of spots that have ancient mystical symbols and glyphs, portal symbols and spirals, and anthropomorphic figures that don't look human. They definitely do not look like human beings all over the cliff faces up here. There's big map systems and star charts and all kinds of interesting stuff. We are going to have to keep an eye out because there isn't the community airport is back behind us, but I do have a flight tracker app, so we're going to be able to filter any of that stuff that we see in the sky out. It is the first really hot day of the year today too. It is really hot. I'm actually wearing shorts, and I brought a tank top and my sun hat to go hiking around out here, but it is a boiler. I want to do something different this time. Usually I come up with all these nicknames, and I tell people, like, this is the Magic Mesa, this is the Mystery of the Giant Serpent Canyon, and I come up with nicknames to kind of protect these places. But this is such a vast area, and there's known tourist spots, Jeep trails, four-wheeler trails and paths, and people come out here and recreate on the main roads all the time. And what I would like to do is instead have your guys' participation. So all of this and where we're at is right on the southwest edge of Utah and the northwest edge of Arizona. And so technically where I'm driving right now is all in Arizona. And we keep dropping back and forth across the state lines and everything between Utah and Arizona, but everywhere where we're going to be filming right now is technically in Arizona. And this canyon, and the main area where we're going to be working up this series, is called Warner Valley. It's just on the south side of Sand Hollow, the Sand Dunes Recreation Area, but it's all called Warner Valley. And you can go onto Google Maps or Google Earth and zoom around, and I want you guys to help me find and look for anything that looks like artifacts, looks like medicine wheels or prayer circles or anything interesting like that that you guys want me to go look at. And then I can set those as destination points and try to travel out there and explore and see what we find. But I think it would be really cool if you guys go look up Warner Valley and Fort Pierce, the dinosaur footprints, Little Black Rock Mesa, and right now we're at Glitter Mountain. And what's cool is you guys can now go on Google Earth, you know where I'm at and where we're gonna be exploring, and you can help me look around these canyons and these valleys for things that look mysterious, and then I can go out there and see what's there. Welcome everyone to the Glitter Mine, what they call Glitter Mountain. And there's other families here enjoying it, and they've put signs up. Other people are prospecting and exploring, but you can see this is an old selenite gypsum mine where they mine out all these crystals, and you can see all over the ground. It's just coming out of the ground everywhere like a magical crystal mountain. That's why they call it Glitter Mountain. And at sunset, when the sun's going down, the whole place is shining. You see how it looks like the ground is just covered with broken glass everywhere? Isn't that cool? I'll show you where it all comes from. But this is important to understand because where we're going is just right over the hill there. And so the geology of what's running underground plays a part in the phenomena. Remember, we're exploring places that are nodes in the ley lines where potentially there's geomagnetic hotspots where piezoelectric phenomena could happen. And so all the way underground through this whole area is this layer of crystal, gypsum and selenite that runs through the entire geology, and it's pretty remarkable. They used to have it so that you could come down here and like mine and everything. This whole back wall was like a complete wall of just open crystal, and you could go pull like big chunks off of it. Now there's like pieces of it scattered all over the valley and down here, and it looks like there's people working on a little slab right there. But you are supposed to pay money and like have a permit to come up here and collect it, but it is open to actually come and visit and to check it out and see. But it's cool because the mines here, it exposes that underground geology. So rather than have to guess or do ground penetrating radar to try and understand what's going on here, you're gonna actually come here to the mine and see like, yep, it's a whole layer of selenite and gypsum crystal going underground. So it makes you wonder what the ancient indigenous people were tapping into this energy. You're literally, this whole valley and canyon area that we're researching used to be, millions of years ago, a marshland full of tropical plants and marshland vegetation. And there was dinosaurs that roamed throughout all of these valleys, and a lot of these places, like where we're walking right now, could have totally been underwater. And with all of that water pressure building up down in these valleys, when all that dried up, it created all these crystal deposits and this unique geology that probably created these resonating nodes on the ley lines that amplify contact with the phenomena. That's everything that we've been talking about. Finding locations like this that have the right geology, the ancient history, and then we go there and we immerse ourselves, explore the petroglyphs, stay overnight, do the meditations, and see if we can make contact. So we've got all the pieces of the puzzle lining up. They didn't used to have this whole sign and setup here, but it's pretty cool. They have put this new one up, and now you can go on and donate at Venmo, and they let you actually come collect samples. But I'll just walk up here and show you a little bit. We'll just pick a random piece off of the ground, like this one here. Isn't that cool? So when we go over and we look at the ancient petroglyphs, it'll kind of make sense. They probably thought this whole place was special, and maybe all of this is part of a clue as to why these ancient canyons and valleys were so magical and treated like they were sacred. It is a hot one today. This is a very hot day for being this early in the spring, but I did pack a lot of water. I've got coffee, I've got snacks and stuff. We'll be good, so I'm going to try to stay out. The best part is, because it's so hot, all the clouds have burned off and we have completely clear skies. But when we get to our next spot, we're going to explore the ancient petroglyphs and get a good look at this place during the daytime, and then we're going to stay until after sundown. I still don't think that it matters if we do this, what they call psionic contact or summoning, telepathy, to try and call down UFOs or to see paranormal phenomena. I do not think that it matters if we do it in the daytime or the nighttime, but we're going to do both, right? I've got night vision, I've got my thermal camera, everything should be ready to go. The one thing I'm going to have to worry about during the daytime right now is just these rough roads, my truck overheating, and then you know, my cameras and equipment overheating on these hot summer days. But so far so good. But where we're going today is not as dangerous as the places we've been going the last couple of days. I know where we're at. We're actually not that far from civilization, and you'd be surprised how you don't have to leave town very far and get on these dirt roads, and you find all of this ancient history right in our backyard here. In fact, where we're going right now, right on the other side of the mountain of the mesa, is a whole subdivision and a new community development that has grown, and that has spilled all the way up into St. George, and there's a whole bunch of shopping, a whole bunch of community that's developed there. And right on the other side of the hill from where we're going tonight, there's even like a couple of restaurants and fast food places, whole little subdivision. So we have to keep all of that in mind. We're still going to be, you know, a good 5 or 6 miles away on the other side of the mesa from all of that, and everything where we're going to be looking off to the south, there is nothing. There's nothing out there all the way across northern Arizona. And now, since I've told you where we're at Little Black Mountain, you can look it up on Google Earth and actually scroll out to the south in the desert and realize how much nothing is really out here. This is a spot that I love to come out to. It's generally really accessible, but we'll see. There's been a few times when I've been out here after it's rained and it's completely impassable. There's literally no way to get out there, but so far it looks like they've been maintaining it. There's been enough people and locals that want to come out here and check out this spot that so far it looks pretty good. This is the spot that I was worried about, but it looks like they've actually been out here and kind of put drainage and a culvert pipe. But there's a lot of times when you come out here and it just looks like that and there's no way to get across. That's something that I haven't seen depicted really well in a good Wild West movie, like a Western. I want to see them like chasing on horseback across the desert and then all of a sudden hitting one of those crazy ditches like that, because you can't see them. Like if you're just like driving and you don't know that they're there, it's literally just like a fissure opened up in the earth, and you could just, if you're riding a bike or you're going along in the dark and not paying attention, you're gonna go off of it. In fact, up in these canyons right back where the pictographs and the petroglyphs are, back to the east of us, just last year there was a guy on a motorcycle that was doing exactly that. He was cruising along on the top of the canyon, had no idea, and he plummeted right off the top of the ridge and did like a 60-foot drop down in the canyon. I'm pretty sure that he survived, but he was banged up pretty bad, and pieces of his motorcycle are still out there laying in the rocks. So check this out. You can see when it rains out here how all of this just turns into total slop, like just slick clay and mud, and you get stuck really bad. And right now it's super dry and dusty, so you kind of have to like pick your battles on which one you want to deal with. If you want to deal with the extreme, what happened? There we go. The extreme heat and the temperatures and all the dust and all that, or you got to try and deal with the mud and the slop. So here's a challenging area we got to get down. This is definitely washed out. I gotta pick my line here. Can I film it and not drop the camera? Yeah, we're good. Just gotta pick our angles. My brakes are getting to where they're starting to get low and squeak a little bit. I gotta take my truck in. I mean, you don't have to try very hard, and it feels like the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The way this mesa is shaped, almost like Devil's Tower, right, in that movie. But this is Little Black Mountain Petroglyph site. And this is an amazing area that if you get a chance to visit St. George, southern Utah, you definitely should come check it out. It is right on the southern edge of the city, but you do have to drive out quite a ways to get here in the desert, but it is doable if you have a pickup truck or four-wheel drive. And when you look to the south, I mean, we're in Arizona. This is all technically Arizona. Over that way is straight into Nevada and Area 51, and then to the north, this is all Utah. So keep in mind, as we explore this entire location here and stay out here after dark, the geology where we just were at the glitter mine, Glitter Mountain, is literally just right over there. It's just right over the hill right there. So all that same geology runs under the ground and is layered into the mountain. And as we get up closer, you'll even be able to see, and I've filmed this before when we've come here, but all of this that looks like white ropes going through the mountain is that same crystal. That's all the same selenite and gypsum running through like ropes or bands in an entire layer. And there's a lot of it like powder down on the ground around the bottom of the mesa. But this whole area, all of these big boulders, most of them are carved with ancient petroglyphs. Down into the valley here at the base of Little Black Mountain, all of these boulders, like I said, most of them are covered with these ancient petroglyphs. This one up here totally is like a footprint, or it almost looks like it has an extra toe, or there's like a digit going off to the side. I've even heard, but check this one out. Like, it really does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if that's a footprint, it's an extra digit. It's a 6-toed footprint, but it's really odd because the one toe is kind of off to the side. There's also depictions like this with those different markings, and instead of it being toes, the ones on the sides are ears, and those are like heads or faces, and that's like hair at the top. And I've even heard that those are symbols of travelers from Africa. They came all the way here from Africa. But that would be pretty remarkable if they were here from all the way from Africa. That would be an untold history. But we're going to see several petroglyphs here that kind of speak to there being an untold history. And also notice how the ones down here are much more weathered and worn, and the one up top actually looks newer, like this one was carved more recently than the ones around it. And even here you can tell even more drastically. You see this one, the figure of the animal here looks like it was carved in newer, whereas this pattern underneath, this circle here, these are all worn back into the desert varnish on the stone. So you've got the desert varnish has recovered all of this pecking from the petroglyphs, but this stuff is newer and has been chipped out in more recent times. So you can kind of get a sense of it. But honestly, these look, they could be 3,000 to 6,000 years old, or even older. I don't have any idea. It's hard to tell. See, and you walk around this side and you've got more animals and like a staff line. Sometimes this is like someone throwing a spear or an addle at the goat, like hunting. And And then there's more symbols down here. Again, these look like goats in a different path and a wall or stick. And then look, here's even like a little figure. See, there's his head. And this is the thing, they've all got these headdresses or these horns on top of their head. And he's got his hands up, his legs go down, and his body's right there. Interesting, but we've got a lot more to see, so let's go check them out. I've also been here before and brought my friend V Duo, and she has been studying and translating ancient Chinese symbols and old symbols from the Indus Valley, which is actually like parts of Tibet, ancient Tibet, before there was any Asian Chinese dynasties or anything ruling over that area. It was just an ancient valley full of monks. And there's symbols around here in Arizona and southern Utah that actually match some of those ancient Indus Valley scripts and symbols. And one of those, or a couple of those symbols and figures, are going to be on the stone that we're going up here to look at in a second. I really want to give you guys an idea of what all this is like in the daytime, because when the sun goes down and we start walking around down here with flashlights, you're going to see it's a totally different environment to do it in the dark, and we're going to be the only ones out here. This one really fascinates me, and there's several spots kind of like that here, similar to this. You see how, look at how the stone is shaped and formed. It looks like all this interesting geology. Almost looks like skin, right? Like this. This is really fascinating. Almost looks like elephant skin here, right? On the stone. And I've never really looked to notice if there's a bunch of carvings on the top here, but obviously this was meant to be crawled through, or you're supposed to go inside there in the dark or sleep underneath there. But I've always been fascinated with this symbol right here, how you've got these waves going like this in and out, like that, with these lines going up and the bars going across. When I brought V here, she recognized some of this as being a symbol for rain coming down from the sky, or rain showers coming down. I think it's really fascinating when we take into account all of these experiments that we've been doing with remote viewing and with psionics, because think about how it would affect your consciousness through the acts of geomancy, where you would sleep or sit underneath these big stones that are connected to the crystal geology underground. And then all of this is tapping into the astrology, or the astronomy and the movement of the stars, the sun and the moon and everything over in the sky. And a lot of these petroglyphs have to do with the winter solstice, and they line up with different light and shadow effects that happen out here during the winter solstice, which is when the sun comes up and arcs over the sky at a certain path and pattern. It creates these different effects of light and shadows. But look at these symbols. I mean, it's not like it's plants or people or anything like that. It's like they're trying to draw energy, or they're trying to draw some kind of a phenomena. They're trying to depict something coming down from the sky, right? Or energy from the stars or from the sun. Obviously trying to depict this as flowing and coming down, and it has to do with how it interfaces with the stone and going in there, right? So should we take a look inside here? Let's see. All right, and look at how the rock, look at how it reflects when you get at the right angle. All of this down here, completely, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's like full of glitter and sparkles, like so cool looking. And everything that when you look at straight on, it looks just like dark brown or black. You come up to the side and it shines like like silver, like it's spray painted chrome almost, like sparkles everywhere. It's so beautiful. Like it's like a total mirage or an illusion the way that the rock catches the light. Like, what would happen to you if you slept under here or camped under here for, you know, days on end? Like, what kind of energy are you going to absorb from this geology that we've been looking at and right through the stones itself? So go back underneath here. And I think after dark we might have to spend a little bit of time hanging out underneath this. Maybe we'll lay down under there with a blanket and do our meditation underneath there, right? There's more carvings up here on the backside. More of that same pattern. I've never even noticed these. Look. More of that same pattern. But this is a figure of a person. See? Here's the same head. The horns going up. The body. The legs coming down. The arms. Right? This has got to be a significant spot for this location. Look, there's even carvings right here that come out like lines this way. And I've always looked at that front side, but yeah, I've never really looked at the back. It's like a duplicate of the other side of the panel there, where you've got the lines at the top, a line across. There's a figure over here. And then it's like it goes down in those bulb patterns. But what does that mean when you see, here it is again, when you see those patterns going up like that, like waves? But then next to those patterns and those lines is a person like that size. So how big is this supposed to be? Are we supposed to be seeing this like a depiction of from overhead? Right? We're definitely going to have to come spend some time here and meditating underneath this little monolithic spot. Now that I've got a little bit of a higher up point of view, I'm going to turn around so you can see. So here we're at the base of the mesa up here. We turn around and you can see Arizona Badlands for miles and miles and miles. People ride UTVs and motorcycles, and they go from here all the way to basically the Hoover Dam, North Las Vegas. Las Vegas is clear out that way, and this is just open Arizona desert. Starting to get a little bit more wind. So that boulder that we just looked at is right down there in the middle of the screen. So let's walk over here. I'm going to show you, actually, let's follow this little trail here. Oh yeah, so look at this. Here is what I was talking about. We're right at the bottom of Little Black Mountain. And I was telling you how it's got that same geology going underneath it, and there you have it. This is just like this white quartz selenite crystal, and there's just like a whole lump of it laying right on the surface of the ground right here. And that's a big old chunk. It's almost like a big chunk of sea salt. Looks like a big Himalayan pink sea salt slab or whatever. But yeah, this is the geology here has got to play an effect on the phenomena appearing, or it acting kind of like a thin spot or a portal for the phenomena. Remember, we're doing all this because ultimately when the sun goes down, we're going to be walking around all of these ancient petroglyphs after dark, sitting out here alone in the Petroglyph Valley here at the base of this mesa, and we're going to be trying to do telepathy to summon UFOs. So we're trying to follow the formula of the ancient indigenous pattern and everything that we've learned from studying what the CIA uncovered and what they learned when they went and took the gateway process from the Monroe Institute and they combined it in with the remote viewing program at Stanford Research, and all of this goes clear back. You definitely got to go back and watch the full series on this YouTube channel to catch up on what we're doing if you're unfamiliar. But we are trying to combine these ancient indigenous locations and the magic that exists through the geology, through the stones, and the energy and the memory of these ancient ritual sites of what was going on here. And we're saying, okay, this is a big clue. People were carving this on the stones here, obviously for a reason, because historically their consciousness through their rituals, through their meditations or ceremonies, was somehow accessing these parallel dimensions that we hear them talking about in these UFO crash recovery programs, like Jacob Barber and all these guys coming out from these special forces teams are talking about how these ancient indigenous locations are like access points. And a lot of the research that they do, where they claim they're doing psionics, remote viewing, and telepathy to summon UFOs out of the sky, they're doing in the Sierra Nevada mountain range just to the west of us over here. And from there all the way to here is full of these ancient petroglyph canyons. So the idea is we're gonna stay out here during the day and after dark, and we're gonna do the CE5 Gateway Protocol. We're going to do the Carl Crusher Protocol of Contact M, which is kind of like a reverse remote viewing method. And we're going to sit here and do it among these petroglyphs tonight after dark and even during the daytime. And we're going to see if we can't see a UFO in the sky or any kind of paranormal activity that occurs right here among these ancient ruins. This one always gets me. This reminds me of the big sandwalker in Star Wars, in the first movie in episode 4, A New Hope, the big sand crawler, right? Like it looks like that, this whole stone, but man, very cool. And when you look at the carvings again, look at the symbolism and try to imagine what they were trying to say. What were they trying to tell us with these markings? This almost looks like a calendar system or a distance to travel, like go certain distance this far. It's hard to know, I'm just guessing, right? These symbols here almost look like, this almost looks like something like Asian. This glyph here, this looks like some kind of like a ladder, easily hundreds of years old. I'm going to come back and take pictures of all of this, but let me just show you here how this whole wall is covered like this now, right? You've got goats, and this is like a figure with horns. And I never touch the carvings. You never touch them with their hand. Never pour water on them. Don't even get up and breathe on them. The oils and the acids that come off of your skin onto the rock can corrode them or affect how these deteriorate. And honestly, the sandstone, if you come up and just rub it really hard, it will, in some places, it will just rub off of the rock. So never touch them. Don't come up and rub chalk on them. You can see other people have come up and scraped on them, and that is a federal crime. It's illegal. Oh, that scared me. Big raven has a nest up there and just flew right over my head. The wings flapping flew right over my head and kind of spooked me. I was like, whoa! I thought something was running up behind me. But look at this anthropomorphic figure right here. Is definitely like a person, but look at the top of the head, like with the horns. And look at this. Is this a symbol of a bird? Is that what we just saw? We were looking at this. Is that the raven that we just saw flying up there? These also kind of look like a swastika sort of symbol or interpretation of that, which is a much more ancient spiritual symbol than what people think of today. Let's just take this whole stone in, right? Another figure here with the arms down. This is almost like a figure of a snake or something, hunting, depiction of a hunting scene. Very cool. But these symbols get fascinating, and there's more of them over here. I just got that feeling, my favorite feeling. It's this feeling that comes over me that of just like an immense gratitude, where I stop and I look around at this view. I realize where I am and what I'm doing. And there's this little like weird quantum connection that happens in my soul, where I feel like the little child version of me, little Carl Crusher that was drawing comic books of me being Carl Crusher, the comic book superhero character, would think this was so cool that I'm out here doing this, that I'm really out here among these ancient petroglyphs, and have taken the time over the last several years of my life to study these, to spend a lot of time in them and explore the connection between them and human consciousness and supernatural phenomena like UFOs and paranormal activity. And I just think it's so cool, and I'm so grateful to all of you that tune in and watch these videos, that join in for the live chat in the premiere and participate in the comments and speculate about what all this stuff is. It is so fun to do all of this stuff with you guys. I love getting on the live chat in the premiere when these videos drop on YouTube and when I post them on Patreon. The interaction that I have with all of you. You guys are so cool. You're all my friends. I love the insight that you have, and you're always sending me links and ideas and noticing things that I missed and pointing out stuff that I didn't notice and teaching me things. And it's just really cool, this whole inner circle, this community that we've formed, and that we get to do all of this together. And really that feeling that comes over me is just intense curiosity and amazement and wonderment, and just immense gratitude to all of you. That, like, I love the opportunity to be able to try and bring you guys here with me to show you all of this and express what it means to me and what it could mean to everybody if we learn some truths. And we have just as much potential as these Green Beret Delta Force operators coming out of the government. I have worked with some of Jacob Barber's Psionic asset members and team members before. I know how they do it. We have just as much of a chance here today, tonight, or even right now, to do the meditations, to do the right protocol, and to have something happen. To be able to have a UFO or a craft or something land, like all these stories, and to actually make contact, to catch it on camera. We could be the ones that do it. We really could. I'm excited about that opportunity, and man, I just got that feeling when we were looking at these petroglyphs. I'm like, this is so cool. Everywhere we go, this whole valley, like, this is the place. I just feel like the last several years of my life have just been leading up to all this, and it's really fun. In the V of the rocks right here, and look at where we are when we turn around, and look where that V points is right here. I don't know how to describe it. It was distinctly like it was like an indigenous, like a Native American figure. And it was like he came right behind me in my ear, opened my eyes, and the sunset was coming down, and it was directly face on. It was like this message from the universe, like a message direct from God, penetrated right through my eyes. The cab light in my truck is on. It was not on. Definitely turned it off when I got out. And I sat in there and I heard voices, disembodied voices talking to me.